hundreds of empty flats that developers say sum up the UK's housing crisis. I'm going to read into this exclusive from Sky News, you guys. So it says that Keir Starmer has made housing building one of his government priorities and regularly rallies against a NIMBY culture. But Sky News can reveal the government's own regulator has also been getting in the way of people moving into new homes. So, yes, so government's own regulator has been a stumbling block for this. But there's a very good reason why this regulator is here. And we're going to watch a video in a moment from Sam Coates, Sky News' political editor, on this. And I think this is going to be fascinating, as well as the rest of the article. But one of the things we have, the government has always said that its target was to build 1.5 million new homes within this first term of Parliament. And obviously there's obviously certain type of homes that people want. Now, when the government says it wants to build 1.5 million homes, it's not specifically saying the kind of homes that they build. And that's the key thing here, because one of the things that we do want is that we need affordable housing. We need affordable housing. That is the one thing we want. Now, we know that the government have been setting regulations, regulatory targets for councils, saying that they need to build this many houses by this many, much, or there'll be consequences for them. So there are councils who are under pressure to make sure that they are building sufficient houses by a certain period within their area. But again, they don't specify like what kind of homes as well, which is again problematic. Now the good news is that most of the houses being built do require obviously advancements towards green energy, the use of solar panels. The majority of homes will be requiring solar panels, which is a good thing, because obviously we want to enhance more the power of the sun instead of wasting money on oil and gas in terms of our climate perspective here. But it's always about just getting the spade in the ground and actually starting building the homes. But it's not just the homes. It's not just the homes that the government needs to be building. It's about the ones that are empty. And this here, the government's own regulator is causing a problem for that. But there's also a good reason why they're causing a problem for this. So I'm going to play and let them explain the situation here.
There should be over 350 flats being built on this site, but they're not. Why? Because of the regulations introduced post-Grenfell, which created a building safety regulator, which developers say just isn't doing the job at speed and isn't fit for purpose.
So we've got planning for 352 apartments. 188 of those homes will be private and 166 will be for social rented housing.
It should take just 12 weeks to get approval, but less than a third meet that target.
We currently have 3 applications that are delayed. One is 6 months, one is 9 months, and one is 12 months.
And it's hitting homeowners too. This tower block in West London was finished over a year ago. 99 private flats, plus another 50 affordable homes, all empty.
So this is a really good example, a 2-bedroom apartment ready to move into. The carpets are down and they can't move in.
Sky News has discovered that there are 1,210 flats in the same position, waiting for approval. The BSR says it's a complex task and improvements are already being made. They blame developers for poor paperwork. But the industry is clear that things can't go on like this.
When there are buildings that can't be signed off for over a year and are costing property developers, in this instance, £100,000 a week, the backlog, it's disgusting, but the worst part, it's the buyers that are affected. It's real life people who are having babies, getting married, getting together, and they're not being able to move into their home.
Nobody wants to be seen on the side of high-rise developers, but if this government is going to get 1.5 million new homes built, there's going to have to be change.
And he's absolutely right, there are going to have to be changes. I mean, it's ridiculous when you see some of these properties and you're seeing them empty because they haven't been approved of and they're sitting there empty. As it said there, over 1,210 new flats empty. Now, understandable, so these are obviously these are new flats, obviously, and the building safety regulator hasn't approved them through. But the fact that some of them take 6 months, 12 months, even 3 months to get approval, like, my question is, what is the hold up? What is the delay? Now, the counter argument, is, of course, that this safety regulator was set up because of what happened to Grenfell. Because rightfully so, people were outraged that many many of these building developments were using materials and taking advantage of safety regulations and not following the needs to protect people, basically. And they were looking for any cheap ways to build buildings. And obviously, this building safety regulator was installed as a means to stop that from happening. They're saying, no, all the necessary precautions need to be made sure that they're put in place. But are they actually going through this as efficiently as possible? And my honest answer is, I don't know. But Sky News' report here has found that obviously some developers are saying that. But their argument is that they're not getting their paperwork properly. Now, we don't know who. Now, there seems to be a lot of blame gaming between the two sides. But regardless of it, it's us, the British public, the people who just want to be able to have homes and own a home, is where we're going to be suffering the most as a result of this. And this is unfortunately, if it's happening here, it's going to be happening in other places, unfortunately. And we're talking about 1,210 new flats. That's so much potential as well. So let's dive more into this, guys. So there are 1,210 completed homes that cannot be occupied because of delays in the work of the government's building safety regulator, Sky News can reveal. So the safety inspection regime created in the wake of the Grenfell tragedy, which claimed 72 lives, is not fit for purpose, according to those who depend on its work. So Sky News has visited an empty block of 99 flats in West London where future residents have purchased the property and have been unable to move for over a year because of lack of regulator approval. So this is the thing that really infuriates me here, is that so people have already purchased property in this, but they can't even move in, and they've been unable to move in for over a year. Now I'm not an expert in terms of housing marketing, so please feel free to add more in the comments below. But why are you putting up why are you selling it to residents before it's already been approved from the regulator? Now that's the kind of a question here. Is why are you already selling it to residents when they haven't even been able to move in? Why it hasn't been approved by the regulator? And I suppose the answer is, the counter argument is, well, Regan, they wouldn't be expecting to be waiting up to a year for it. Like, they might be waiting a couple of weeks is what they would be expecting, but not 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year. And that's really why it is. But maybe it needs to be changed the way houses are housed. Maybe it needs to be changed the way it's done. Maybe it should be the case where they shouldn't be selling the properties if they can't even move into them. So new data obtained exclusively by Sky News through the Freedom of Information request shows the extent of the issue. So as of the 1st of August, there is no decision on 8 applications covering 1,210 completed new residential units. For sites yet to be built, there are 156 applications with no decision covering 34,965 new residential units. So Keir Starmer says economic growth is his top priority, and the 1.5 million new homes is his target this Parliament. It's a key part of his agenda, but 2 years after its creation, the government agency has come under fire for failing to fulfil vital functions in a timely manner. So after complaints, the regulator has already faced one overhaul and will shortly move from the part of the Health and Safety Executive HSC to become an arm's length body, which is part of Angela Rayner's Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government. But developers say they are still struggling to get answers from the body. So Sky News has conducted an analysis of public data and found the backlog is growing. New buildings ought to be signed off within a 12-week period, but Sky News has found that percentage of applicants determined inside that window is falling from 47% at the end of September last year to 32% at the end of March. So this is according to the building safety regulator. The numbers within 12 weeks has obviously been going down and down and down, and it's been taking longer and longer. So in a statement, leading financial analysis S&P said delays by the regulator are pushing up building costs and making it harder to deliver the key target. And that's really bad. The building cost is already high enough. We know that building materials already and getting the necessary workers. Yes, we do have our own workers, but sometimes we need to get workers abroad as well. But sometimes the building materials obviously is required. Getting them is coming at a bigger cost as well. So, and obviously that's encapsulated with what happened with Brexit as well. Because Brexit pushed up the cost of everything and people tend to forget that. So Chris Williamson, the Chief Business Economics at S&P said, we have received anecdotal feedback from a few companies regarding the Building Safety Act, so indicating that some may be experiencing challenges relating to orders. So this could contribute to an increase in cost with the construction sector, which is already facing financial pressures. In the apparent admission of the issue, the government told Sky News it is now in the process of recruiting over 100 new staff to strengthen capacity by the end of the year. In a statement to Sky News, the Building Safety Regulator, BSR itself, said it had been a complex task creating a new safety body post-Grenfell in such a short time, and improvements are already being made. I think that is true. To creating a new building safety regulator in a short time it's gonna take time for it to adjust, sort of thing. So I can understand. I do understand that more needs to be done to improve that. So it said BSR is working closely with the industry to deliver safe, high quality buildings while advancing a culture of excellence in building safety. So this is the new building backlog has grown despite an increase in processing here. So this is this year, so far this year. So applicants still open 129. Decisions made per quarter there is 23 there. So this is really jumping up very fast here. Executives from the BSR will appear before a select committee later today. So that's that would have already happened by the time you guys see this. It also points the finger at property developers for failing to submit paperwork correctly. The industry vehemently rejects the claim, saying there are a few guidelines of what to submit, and the BSR makes little attempt to clarify what it was. However, problems persist, and Sky News saw how one newly built property in Acton, West London, the sign-off for a building by the BSR was delayed in part because the sign was 2 millimeters too small, and all the signs had to be changed. 2 millimeters too small. On a sign, I would have liked to have seen the signs. This has contributed to a 14-month delay in the green light for residents to move in. That's really, really annoying because of a sign that was 2 millimeters too small, and all the signs had to be changed. According to the Federation of Master Builders and the Chartered Institute of Buildings, 38% of developers believe planning delays are the number one issue. Developers have told Sky News the agency was meant to speed up approvals by ending a system where they had to bring in external consultants to approve the application, but this has not yet happened. So John Springs, the manager director at Fairviews Homes, said, "We currently have 3 applications that are delayed for BSR. The current date's looking at. They're giving us we already read that already, and we already read all that from him already. If you look at each of our projects that have been delayed, it's going to take up to 25% longer to deliver the project. That means our productivity is ultimately reduced by 25%. That would have been the same for all developers, and therefore the reduction in housing has been delivered will be considerate." So James Lester, an estate agent from Holds Property, the government are encouraging developers to build, and just get on with it. And I think that's what Keir Starmer said. But when there are buildings like this that can't be signed off for over a year and it costing property developers, in this instance £100,000 a week, I don't understand. The government won't encourage property developers to build like this anymore. And I know many property developers who won't touch high-rise buildings at the moment simply because the Building Safety Regulator can't get their act together and sign these buildings off. If it's too much of a hassle for property developers to build high-rise buildings, why would they do it? Like, they want it as smooth and easy as possible. They're in the business of making money. Yes, they're in the business of making money, property developers. They want to make some money out of it. And they don't want things being dragged out. They do understand that there are some exceptions where these things happen. But when you've got a regulator that's consistently failing or consistently taking too long, it's going to put people off from using it. So they say. So protecting residents, making sure there is never enough tragedy like Grenfell has been our priority throughout this process. Setting up a new regulator has been complex, and huge progress has been made in short time. The construction industry must meet standards that will keep residents safe in high-rise buildings. The recently announced innovation unit is the result of ongoing discussions between the industry and BSR to hold high standards. BSR is working closely with industry to deliver safer, higher quality buildings while advancing the culture of excellence in building safety. So some have blamed the government, not the regulator itself. The boss of one major house building company who did not want to be named said ministers aren't willing to face up to reality. Quotation, that regulation comes from the government and the regulator is implementing the rules, he said. Their mandate is nothing to do with housing supply, so it's up to ministers to balance that. All the house builders say this would be a disaster, and funnily enough, it turned out to be a disaster. Government spokesperson from the Housing Department said problems were already being tackled and safety was important. We've announced a package of reforms to reduce delays, including a fast-track process to speed up the new building decisions. They added 100 new staff were being employed. Well, clearly they need to get up to scratch with that, if there. But I do think that the that the building safety regulator, I do think it's vitally important, and because of what happened with Grenfell, and while of course we need to build more homes, and we need to obviously, I mean, it's easy to say, oh, we've got to get through it all and pass through all the regulations as quickly as possible so we can get these spades on the ground and start getting things signed off and whatnot. It's really important that we do not make the mistakes of the past. So there is a difficult balance here, and I do hope that they get the regulator sorted, and then it can speed up its process. I really hope so. I don't expect the government to hit the 1.5 million homes target. I'd like to hit at least 1 million. It's nowhere near the numbers. It's nowhere near enough homes that we need in the UK as a whole. But my hope is that they do be able to develop what is needed for these homes, and I think I really hope it does work. I mean, regardless of how you feel about the Labour government, more homes need to be built. We have a severe housing crisis. Prices of homes are just too expensive. Many people are just put off it. I'm a prime example of somebody who wanted to buy a home, and me and my partner were just priced out, and we're never going to be able to own our own home because of the housing market. So so the government needs to do more on this. It's not just a case of the regulator, but the government needs to do more on this as well. What do you guys honestly make of the situation around empty flats and housing developments and whatnot? Please let me know your thoughts and more on this down in the comments section below. Feel free to add more content to it with your comments. It would be greatly appreciated. Now, if you found this video interesting and informative, hit that like button, share it across social media, subscribe if you haven't already. Do check out Rumble and Patreon for exclusive content. And if you want to financially support me and the work that I do, you can click the join button down below to become a YouTube member for as little as 99p. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.